We want you to find our stuff organically. We want you to find our stuff emotionally. We want you to find our stuff because you care. They show you what you should be watching, they pre-program you, and they make that happen, okay? As creatives, that's also not where we're at. I really hope that registered with you. I think out of this whole episode, that's what I cut. That's the video podcast, because that was the gold. This is the podcast in the rough. Raw conversations, real strategies, massive impact. Welcome back to the podcast in the rough. I'm your host, Zebulon Thomas, and this is episode 174. Today, this podcast is actually being recorded as a video podcast. So if you'd like to see this, you can head over to Spotify and check it out, or just go to thepodcastinrough.com and click under video podcast. I'm not sure how many of these I'm going to do. I usually don't do a video podcast, but today I wanted to be extremely unscripted and riff just some creative flow and speak to my creatives out there. So it's been a while since I did a video podcast, for myself at least. I'm doing a bunch for other podcast and entrepreneurs that I'm involved in. And I have the setup here. It's just when you're a video guy, right, and I'm creating all these other videos, the last thing I want to edit is a video podcast, okay? But they are fun, and I don't know if it makes a difference that you really see me, right? I'm someone that really wants to dive into podcast episodes and listen to them. If you're really entertaining, I want to watch you. So my hope is I'm testing this setup out to see if it's something that can work within my streamlined workflow. And if it does, then I'm going to keep doing this. And I'm going to give you guys pointers on how to do video podcasts for yourself, for personal. Because I can do video podcasts for all the other, podcasters that I'm involved in, that I work with, and companies, because I'm the production behind the scenes, if you will. Or I might be the co-host or the producer. So it's a little different. But when I'm running the whole show, that's a lot of hats to wear at once. So setting things up to make it streamlined, like currently, I'll let you in on a secret, I was going to record this in Zoom, right? And just have me in a private meeting just with myself, right? And then I was like, well, I have OBS, and this is what I usually use is OBS. So I'm going to use OBS for me. And I do OBS for streaming, like game streaming, because I love to game. But when it comes to podcasting, it's like all the focus is on me. So in the next episodes to come, I've been planning something for a while, and I think I'm just going to do it. And that is where I talk about the productions that I've been on as ZT Films and what went on in those productions, what it took to make those productions, what kind of things we ran into and how we solved the problems, or the adventure that we went on that maybe wasn't documented, are the things leading up to get that video to flow. And I'm going to share that with you. So leaning into that on today's episode, if you're a creative, if you're someone who's talented, and this could be as an artist, as a musician, as a videographer, a photographer, and any other skill set that is something that, requires extreme untapped talent, right? Like it's something you discover accidentally, or it's something you discover on your journey to succeed in something else. Like for me, I was very skilled in a lot of different areas, but when I picked up a camera and I was like, I'm going to record a video, and I kind of felt like how cool this was, and then I saw other people doing it, I'm like, well, I'm definitely going to jump in this space. This is my lane. And I can be so creative with my films that it's something I can't be that creative anywhere else, because of all the moving parts and all the different skill sets that I've obtained, learned, earned, or developed over the years, that this is where I've arrived to be, in mastery. My setup, if you've ever seen my videos, if you haven't, go to ZebulonThomasFilms.com or look up ZT Films on YouTube or Instagram, and you can see a lot of, my work and where it's showcased. My current setup is I use a DSLR camera, preferably a Canon, with obviously Canon L glass, a Rode microphone, usually they're shotgun microphones that are attached to my camera. And then to get the shots that I need, that fluidity and grace, I'm using a glide cam camera stabilizer. that's something that was introduced to me early on. In fact, it was a steady cam and a glide cam. And it was like, well, the glide cam was what, the people I inspired or inspired by and inspired to become, right, or to do the same things, had the glide cam. And the steady cam just wasn't attractive to me. I was like, what is that? We're using this. And so like immediately it made my buyer decision right off the rip. I was like, I'm going to go do this. This is what I'm going to do. And so I did that. And so that's my setup. And that became like the backbone, the foundation, the backbone to everything that I do is that glide cam camera stabilizer, the Canon, the Rode microphone, ready to go. And so to this day, I still use the glide cam. I still use a Canon camera. Mine's just a little more advanced. I have more of a flagship camera now, one of Canon's flagships, and I absolutely love it. I found the camera that I like, and it speaks to me. And so if you're creative, first thing you want to focus on is the tools you use to get the job done, right? There's the tools that you need that's a necessity. Like, okay, I have to get, in my case, I needed a camera, so I couldn't afford the good ones at the very beginning of my career. So what's the best route to get there and the cheapest and in my budget, right? So I started with like a Canon Rebel T3i. This is like 2011. And I had a stock kit lens, but I knew I had to upgrade to the good lens. And then eventually I would hope to upgrade the body. But there was some accessories, like I said, the glide cam, the Rode microphone. And these are things that were essential to me to make the videos that I wanted to create. And then I added things like, a GoPro because it's rugged and it's got a different, unique look, and it can get closer to my subject and attached to my subject or subjects or things that we're doing to really capture a view that's probably going to put the other camera in danger, right? Still pretty hefty price tag, at the very beginning when you're starting out. I still use the GoPro. I still use these exciting cameras. And if we were to look at podcasting the same way, when I create podcasts, at the very beginning, I was just using my phone. I was just taking my phone and was recording with this. And that's what I had. That's what I had to do. And it worked. And then I wanted to improve the quality. So then I bought a different microphone, and then I experimented with different microphones. And then finally I arrived at the setup that I have now, which I'm recording on currently is, I have a Shure microphone. I have a Rodecaster Pro, and I love the whole setup. And to me, it's functional, it's streamlined, and it gets the job done. And now there's quality added. So, if you're an artist, you might start off with a pencil and pen or whatever and like crappy paper, and eventually you improve your pencils, your brushes, your paper, your just all these tools to make better, to increase the quality, if you will, but you're still making the art, right? Like nothing's changed besides what you're putting it on. So like for me, I can grab any camera. It could be a Nikon, it could be a knockoff camera, it could be an old VHS camera, like whatever that is, I'm going to create something cool because I have the eye, I have the vision, I have the creativity, I have the skill set. And so is the quality going to be there? No. But if you put that in your mind and you go, you know what, I really want this to be, old school classic retro quality, right? Then I'm going to deliberately create this with cameras that are maybe low quality, or I'm going to get the highest quality out of it and then downgrade the footage and add all these filters to make it look retro. So you're kind of throwing stuff on. So I feel like, it's the microphones we use for podcasting. I want to sound retro. Well, maybe we're going to get an old school microphone and make an old school setup. Or maybe get a good microphone and find a unique way to edit or a plug-in that can alter that to make it more retro. Things with creativity are very important. And what I really want to stress on is we all know, like, especially if you're someone that's this creative, this is going to speak to you. When it comes to being in the space of creativity, there's no time, there's no amount of money that can buy that. And we really want to be in our zone where we can flow. Everything has to flow and be functional. The last thing I want to do is have these little hiccups. Like imagine trying to get down the street in a really nice sports car, but you keep hitting speed bumps. You can go fast and then you got to go slow because you don't want to damage the car. So, And so that gets really annoying. You really can't enjoy the sports car. You really can't enjoy anything because of these bumps, right? You want to smooth things out so you can actually go. Maybe you can't go that fast because the road's too short, but you could just cruise, right? You can enjoy the cruise, right? right? So what does your workspace look like? What does your workflow look like? What are the tools? Are they easy to, put in a bag and go? Is it easy to, go to the park if you're an artist and like roll it out and start doing stuff on a canvas? If you're a podcaster, can you jump in a car, record it? Can you be at home? Can you go to your friend's house? Like, can you be mobile with it? And when you get back, how's the streamline editing? Oh, just throw it in here and you have a process. And you're not switching up. Like maybe you have a dedicated laptop for that. What's really important about all this is something that we establish as our base as creatives. We establish all these things. These are the tools we need. This is the functionality. Once we have our base set up, I believe that that's when we go into the world and we go, okay, now we can make money, right? Now we can charge for this. Now we can start doing things we want to do with this. We can, and listen, for me at least, making the money wasn't always about, hey, I'm just going to do any job out there because I now have a camera. No, I was interested in things that were exciting to me. Like, how does this speak to me? What kind of like, combining my skill set with this band or my skill set with this product or service or this brand. And we combine this and make a creative style video that now becomes something of my showcase. The world sees it as like these two came together and this was a cool style because that's something I wanted to do. I wanted people to see it as like, if a brand goes, who should we partner with or have us, have make our newest commercial? I want people to be like, you should go to this guy ZT Films. Can you imagine having, brand X done with a ZT Films style? Can you imagine if he got his hands on that and did something cool? Like what that would be? Like that's the style that I'm going for. That's what ZT Films to me represents. And that goes through all my branding. Right? So I have Zebulon Thomas Photography, right? It's also under the umbrella of ZT Films because I bring a cinematic look to my photography. I just recently started promoting and pushing that I want to do more photography. I've done photography my whole life pretty much, but video was something that I fell into and I said, this is what I'm going to do. I use the same camera as a photographer. It's just I use the video mode. With that being said, the skill set's there, but it's a lot different. But the eye of the creator, right, like creating this, I have a vision of my shot. I know what I want. And when I shoot it, I treat it like a video because when I go to edit my photos, they look a certain way. Again, it's speaking that creativity into what I do. And also the people see it and they go, I want that style, right? But here's where creatives have to be careful, is when companies and brands want you to be a part of their stuff. They come to you. There's two ways to do this too. They come to you and they want to team up with you because they know that you have the creative vision that they want and they're excited about it. And that's usually a good flow because now you're in negotiation phase. They've come to you. They've already got the interest. They're a hot lead. They're throwing down like a budget that they have, want to know if you could do it within that budget. You're able to talk to them and get creative and feel it out and see like, is this going to be a match? And then you can say, you know what, I will do it for that budget, or, you got to raise your budget, or, what, let's compromise and go in the middle and let's do something exciting. I've done all those ways. And then there's the other way where you reach out to a brand and you say, I want to do a video because I think we'd be a good fit. What do you think? And now they have negotiation power because they know that they want you, but you got to be careful that they don't take advantage of you. In both situations or scenarios, they could take advantage of you. But as long as, like, you'll know this at the beginning. If you reach out to a brand, they say, oh, we would love to do that. This is the budget we have. We would love to, like, usually when I've done that, they've paid me well over what I was asking because they know, hey, you know what? This person really wants to do it. They came to us. They obviously really want to promote our product. And smart brands, they understand this. They go, well, if a creative wants to push for us, we're going to make sure that we make this experience amazing for them. And at least that's what it's been for me. It gets a little dicey when you start to get successful. Because when you start to get successful, you get brands that are coming to you because they want to ride the wave. They want to spin off of you. They want something, and now you've become the center of it all. And they really want that talent, but they really want the exposure. And so some of them just want to jump on and make a profit, and that's okay, but they don't want to respect you as the creative, and they want to put demands on you and then start making you live by the clock, and this is the money we gave you. And like I say this, you're paying for, I would love to get your opinion on this because my opinion is you're paying for my skill set, my talent that is very unique, and no one else out there has exactly what I do. They might have a different style. So then it comes down to style. Like we're all very unique in our own way. We have similarities, but when it really comes down to it, there's a lot of factors that play into what our style is. So it's our style and our talent. And when you pay us, like that to me is what you're paying for, because my time is priceless. I can't get that back. I can exchange my talent, my skill set, the things I could do that could transition into different things. I could look at it. I could view it later. I could be proud of it. I could not be happy with it. It could be a life lesson, a career move, a shift. It could be a lot of things. But I can't get my time back. To me, that's the most valuable asset. It is. It is absolutely the most valuable asset we have. And so I want you to think about that when you're being creative, when someone comes to you and want your skill set. Ask yourself, is this worth my time? And don't just go, well, if I just do this it's just a day, I'm making all this money. Trust me, I've made a lot of money for a little bit of time, but it was worth it. I've also made a lot of money and it wasn't worth it. And I spent way less time, but it just really wasn't worth it. So it was kind of like a pain in the butt, and it's not something I'm proud of, right? Or excited about, I should say. I've had opportunities to do stuff with companies that they were kind of going under, and I don't want to be attached to that. I don't want to start up. I don't want a business is failing. I want to do something that's exciting, that's fun, that's breathing life, because my stuff is about just like capturing life's best moments. And so I want to be creative and wild and stuff like that with my video productions. And so is it worth it? It's worth it if I can make some friends. It's worth it if I can, showcase something that we're all proud of, we can look back on, something that the video speaks and it sends a really amazing message or a strong message or something that's very important. Like that's something that is timeless that I want to create. So when you're doing the things you're doing, is it something you're going to be proud of? Is it something going to build you a new skill set because you're doing this? And this is the only way to that is to practice here, if you will. And this is the stepping stone up. Are you doing this because it's going to change something in history or someone's life? Or is it something that's really going to make a difference socially? Like it's going to impact us? Like that is something that's worth your time. But if it's something like, hey, do this video, we're going to pay you, it's going to make the brand a whole bunch of money. And like to me, like I don't feel that money really has a place when it comes to, your creativity and your time. If it ain't enjoyable, I should say. If it's enjoyable, then it has a place. If it's not, you can go somewhere else. There's plenty of opportunities out there. There's plenty of money floating around that you can get a piece of. And I just wanted to put this episode together because I was thinking a lot about it. And there's a lot of productions I've done. And I would say out of the 17 years of doing productions, because I did this before I was even ZT Films, I would say there's only a handful, like one handful of productions that, it's not that I'm not proud of really. It's just that we're like, why did I do that? Like, what was that all about? Like, maybe it was an experience back then I was trying to go for to say like, well, I did this. I did that or tried it. I learned something about lighting or not lighting or who not to work with. There's different reasons you might do something creative that allows you to get creative in that isn't really your wheelhouse or a place you need to be. And like I look at it like this, like the three outlets I have now is podcast, ZT Films, and my photography. Photography is B2C, business to consumer. That speaks to the consumer. I created this outlet because it feeds me differently. When I go take a bunch of photos of families, like family portraits, or if I do a model shoot, or if I do, senior photos, which are really fun, or creative photos, or even just my food photography, which is, I get to eat a lot of food, right? But I mean, like it's fun because I get to get, a different experience on all these, and most of them are natural lighting. I love working with natural light. And then I challenge myself to say, okay, let's put a flash on this. And, I'm not really a big fan of flash, but I think done right, some of these photographers that do this, it's amazing, but it just doesn't speak to me. I love looking at them, but I don't want to create that kind of imagery. And so I'll do flash for certain lighting, but, I just did a shoot at a cigar lounge, and I had to highlight my subject in the cigar and capture the scene. And I went in there with a cinematic, creative thinking. And I set up my lighting like I would if I was going to shoot the video. And I really got the look I wanted because I had consistent lighting. And looking back at the photos, I think they look amazing. But I probably could have used a little bit of flash. I could have used a off-camera or on-camera flash just to give me just a little bit more light. Because I don't really like to heavily edit my work either. I want to capture a lot of it in camera and then afterwards tweak a little bit to get that cinematic look. But we're not manipulating the photo extreme, right? Like we're not adding a lot of fake elements and things like that to make the photo something it's not. It's capturing a moment in time. It's capturing the art. It's an art. I also don't crop my images. Like rarely will I crop my photos because early on I was doing this and I was learning about cropping and like I realized that I didn't have to crop at the very beginning. I'm like, what is this? And I had you have too much space here. I'm like, well, there's a reason why I have that space there. Because cinematically, that's how I see it. Because visually, I see it because I have an eye. And so I've kind of gotten more aware of that. And so now when I take a photo, I shoot with the crop in mind. Meaning like, oh, you know what? Let's just get it right in camera. Why not? Let's just get it right in camera so I don't have to crop. So I don't have to lose quality at all. And I could focus more on the creative vision. And I'm okay with changing things up, making my lens a little, off-centered or breaking the rule of thirds or breaking the portrait, rules that you're supposed to go by. Like, I didn't learn any of that at the very beginning. Honestly, I didn't learn anything about my video production either at the very beginning. I saw something, I saw it enough, I've watched enough movies, I'm like, that's the scene, that's how it's supposed to look. And I capture with the camera. And then it wasn't until like a couple of years later I realized that, oh, I'm actually supposed to be using these grids and like, oh, I got all my stuff right at the very beginning without knowing about these grids and the rule of thirds and stuff like, because when you have an eye for it, when you have a talent for it, it's natural and you see it, you feel it, and that's how I create my work. So if you're a creative and you're hearing this, lean into the things that help you create your work and create the outlets. Like I said, I have photography, that's B2C. I have ZT Films, that's B2B, that's my business to business. That means I do commercials for businesses. And now I'm shifting my brand after all these years. I started off as, doing YouTube videos and then YouTube videos with brands endorsing and put into my videos, which is exciting. And then I kind of got away from that and I started doing more commercial work and then commercial full time and was like getting creative in the commercial space. And it was really, really fun. And over the years, I kind of like went all the way up to my limits. Like, what now, And so now it's interesting because I'm shifting and I'm leaning more into cinematography, like doing full films, right? Doing movies, like big movies. It's time for me to do big movies. And so, I built out a different camera set for that. And that brought whole new frustrations because now I have the cinema rig and, it's a lot different than what I'm usually working with. And now I'm looking at controlling more lighting and the environments that are run and gun shooting. And I really want the scene and I'm obsessed over the scene, how it looks. And so like I'm obsessed of like what lens I want and these matte boxes. And now this, camera that would weigh like 5 pounds, the whole unit is now weighing 25 pounds and it's a big deal, right? And you got all this money wrapped up. And then I started doing this and I was like, okay, I want to do film. And I started bringing the film cinema camera into the commercial shoots, which was whole next level and was way overkill. But I did that because I wanted to practice in real time. And I realized some tools are not made for certain environments or certain situations. Like the cinema rig with the big, GlideCam X10, with the GlideCam on it and all this other equipment and field monitors and stuff. Like for high-end production, yeah, maybe for a very controlled environment. But what really got me to come up was my ZT Films action style videos. And so that camera setup would never work, in my opinion, would never work in that type of environment where I'm strapped up. I'm not able to move as much as I want or as fast as I want. And they're too cinematic almost, like it's too good, right? It's not meant for that. That's made for something that really needs that stability to be spot on and the environment to be scripted and controlled, if you will. Going back to just the GlideCam, stripping it down, using my flagship camera, now I'm at a different weight. It's manageable, a run and gun style. Everything's on the camera. It's an extension of me. I'm free to go do whatever I want. That's the other side of things that I'm getting back to. I'm getting back to bringing back videos that I used to do at the very beginning of my career that were so fun, bringing a lot of people together, making things happen, making it fun, and voila, here we go, right? We're bringing the magic back. And so that's really what that is. But this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it a little bit differently. It's not about any brand getting in. It's like I'm now reaching out to like, you know what? We used to do this, never got to work with you, or I did. We're going to bring it back. We're going to do it way bigger. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I want you to be a part of this. And those who want to be a part of that, they'll be ready to go, right? Because the ones I reach out to, I've already done my homework, and we really are going to make some magic. It's going to be amazing. And so I'm excited about that. So, if your creativity starts to like plateau or, go down, like maybe you've drifted too far away from where you started. Maybe you drifted somewhere that was left of where you need to go, right? Like I've done that too. You guys have heard the story before if you listen to previous podcast episodes. I've worked with certain entrepreneurs and I did something it was incredible opportunity. I still feel the same way about it. It was great for me to get that skill set and have that on my, like my roster or my resume, right? Like this is my portfolio, if you will. Is it something I'm proud of? No. None of that I was doing with the entrepreneurs am I proud of, because it's a different world, right? I don't fit. As a creative, I don't fit in there. As a creative, I don't belong there. Like I'm speaking to you because I want you to go where you belong. Like you'll know where you belong. You'll feel it. You'll be like, I belong here, right? I belong in a space. I'm speaking as a creative. I belong in a space where I can, just get super in tune with what I want to do and no limits and just take everything I've learned over the course of my career and outside of my career, my life, and things I've seen and witnessed and stories, and bring it all together and make something that the viewer that it attracts will get emotionally driven or inspired by, or walk away with a message, right? And that can come in the form of like photos. It can like creating a collection. I've started educating myself and watching, master classes on photography, and I've really fallen into this idea of these photo collections. Like let's create a collection. Like I'll deliberately set up shoots with someone that I'm like, you know what? I just want to go out. Let's just spend 2 hours in the park or somewhere, and we're going to create this collection, right? It's cool. And maybe I take 240 photos, right? And we narrow it down, and I look at this and I cut it all up and I go, these 10 or these 5 or these 4 photos to me really speak to me. And then I edit the crap out of that, like make it look like cinematic, like I want, to where it's exciting and still capture a moment. And I put it on my website, and that becomes the collection. And the process is fun. And the outcome is not about making money. Sometimes it is. Sometimes someone's like, if I'm doing a family portrait, I'll do that. And the ones that they don't select, or the ones that we do select, I ask them, can I use this as a collection? Because I'm really proud of this. This whole thing tells a different story. This captures, what that moment is, or what that family's about, or what that senior's all about, like what their journey is. Even baseball players that are, in high school or college, like the fact that I captured them and they might go on to be a pro, right? That's kind of cool. Like I capture them right in their beginning stage of success, like right before it all happened. So that, to me, that's a fun collection. And then you got the films, right? The films is something like, this is my creative space. What kind of story can I tell? I have action-packed videos where I'm running around, I'm bringing a whole bunch of people together, we're making memories, we're making fun, and then we put that up and we look back and we go, I remember that video. I remember when we did this. I remember that. Like, all that brand that gave us all that stuff to make this video possible. That was fun, really living, that's the goal and the fun of that. And like podcasting is similar, because that's my third vehicle, my third outlet. And this is where I can speak to you about these topics. I can talk to you about podcasting from start to success. I can, promote my mastermind or promote my ZT Films, funding that I'm going to start future filmmakers to teach the youth how to do the videos like I do, and give them a really solid foundation to grow from, and give them an outlet that I can offer. Like I can now teach my skills. Or, it's bringing a guest on as someone I met. I'm like, I want to highlight your story. Or it's building out podcasts for other people and helping them create something that they never knew was going to be big, and showing them that this is an outlet where you can speak about a lot of things and you can practice and fail forward. And it's fun, especially if you love to work with podcasting equipment, or just working with audio, where it gets, like I said, this video podcast right now, if you're watching me, it's not something that I'm excited about. However, I could lean into this more and I can get really excited about this because I can change my angles. I can add more cameras. I can really make this entertaining. I don't know why you'd really want to just watch one person. Now, if we had two people here, which I do those, when it's two people talking, it does make a very interesting watch, especially when you have a nice scene, a backdrop and stuff like that. I want to entertain you. And I think that's where I get stuck with video podcasting. Now I'm speaking to my podcasters, right? Is maybe you're not thrilled about your video podcast because it's not entertaining you, right? Like I'm used to creating action. So to me, a video podcast would be this right here, but it'd be me showing you some footage that I've done in the past, talking about those videos, explaining what happened, and then showing you that in real time. So that's something I'm going to attempt to do, and I think it's going to be great. What's nice is I've been doing podcasts for, 4 years now, maybe 5. And I've done it on a huge level too, big top. And I've also done it at the bottom with my own podcast with starting out with a phone. And to me, it's just exciting. But again, if it's not something that I can just come down this is my studio. This is actually my main studio. This is now my main studio. This is my lower basement studio that I built out before I had like one upstairs, but I've torn that down because I didn't need it. And everything's functional here. I come here and I just streamline it. But when I turn the camera on, now I have a different entertainment thing. The other different side of this with the video podcast is that the editing is going to be very minimal. Like I'm not cutting this up like crazy. I really do polish my podcast episodes. I actually love that part when it's just audio. I'll polish it, I'll enhance it, I'll cut out as much dead space that I want to cut out. I've messed up several times in my episodes in the past. I cut all that out, or I say stuff that are ramble. I'm like, you know what? I really don't like that. This episode, I might have, prolonged the, to get to the point at the very beginning of this. But again, I don't want to cut that out because it's a video podcast and it looks weird to me. I can hide that, right? There's ways to hide that. Like you can have a screen overlay. Speaking of which, there's a podcast I'm involved in and I do cut out stuff. And the way I do it is I have a logo flash over the screen. Just kind of reminder like subscribe or follow, and then it goes away. But I only use it when we had to make a cut. And the audio you can't tell, but video you can tell. So I have these creative ways to make this. And sometimes that's just like a jump cut. If you don't know what a jump cut is, it's where instead of blending two scenes together, it really just cuts into it. It just cuts right to it. It's just a splice. So what that is if I want to cut out a piece of audio and my video needs to look right, I'll do a jump cut where I actually zoom in on one clip deliberately. So I might zoom in, it might be a tighter shot on my face, and it's like, that's the cut. So you might not notice it too much. There's a scene there. And then the next one cuts back to the normal view. It's a wider shot. And so that doesn't stand out as much if you are making those cuts. Like say you only messed up once in your whole episode. Well, I would do maybe 3 or 4 cuts prior and before and after the actual mistake where you cut so that it doesn't look unnatural. Like, oh, they were doing this cut for a while. It's just natural. We could tell deliberately that this jump cut didn't, you can tell it wasn't an edit. Like you could tell it wasn't something they messed up and cut out. It was just there. Like I would deliberately do it in the middle of a word so that there's no way that would line up. I mean, unless you're really good, I've done that too. But if I cut in the jump cut right when I'm saying a word, it looks like, oh, well, that's just a camera change. Or a jump cut. You can do this with a B camera. If you're recording a podcast, have 2 different cameras, so you can go back and forth with the different camera angles. That's really easy to do because if you're recording, you messed up, going to camera B, as a side shot it's just gonna look like you just changed camera, and you can cut out like 20 minutes of maybe you just didn't want to keep it, and just go right back to camera A. And it just looks like a different transition. The only time it might look this is why camera B is going to be a tighter shot and camera A is going to be a wide shot. And here's why. Because if, I'm moving my hands right now and I'm talking, if we had 2 wide shots and we cut to camera B from camera A, my hand movement might not be moving at all. That scene, maybe I had my hands down on my lap. And you're going to be like, wow, they were just moving their hands, all of a sudden it's on their lap. This way with a tight shot, you don't see that. The hands are already going to be out of the frame because it's a tighter shot on my face. So some things to think about. I'll give you little tips here. I wanted to give you something away today. This is how a creative thinks. Like this is how my brain thinks when I do production and I think about all these things. And so you can see how it could be like, oh, I want to do a video podcast today for you guys. I need camera angles and all this stuff. And listen, that's exactly where I went for the longest time. And today I said, you know what? I'm just going to do this and give it a try. And it might suck. It might not be the best podcast ever, but I want to give it a try, right? I really like how, like on these platforms, I don't want to name them too much, but on these platforms, you have the option to watch the video or listen by just clicking the button, and it doesn't interrupt the episode at all. So I was like, let's just do it. Now, I could have got stuck with the concept of I just don't have all the stuff ready. And I didn't want to get stuck. I wanted to move forward. So I encourage you that, it might be as simple as like, I want to do a podcast, but I don't know where to start, so I never start. No, pick up the phone, record it, right? Put it up on a platform. If you can't figure out how to get on a platform, you can at least put it on YouTube. Hey, I have a YouTube podcast, right? Just put it up on YouTube and hit record, put it up there. If it's video, just do it with your phone. Or like if you're in my situation and you're trying to build the setup and you're trying to, make it perfect, don't get caught up in all the tech. Don't get caught up if the things don't work, if the cameras don't look 100%. Just do it. If the audio is crummy, but the conversation is amazing, then that's where content trumps quality, right? Think about that. You could have really good quality and not have nothing to talk about. I've done that too. I've been there, right? It's like, what is this episode all about? Wow, it looks so good in 4K, Zebulon. Like, this is amazing, right? What are you talking about? So that's the other thing. So think about how to really plan out your episodes. But don't make them so scripted that it's unnatural. Like, don't make it like you're reporting the news. Like, you're doing your podcast, why? You're doing your video production, why? You're doing your art, why? You're doing your creative, why? Because it fills you. It feeds you. It does something for you. Just the other day, I was watching, and I linked this, and I want to talk about this too real quick. I saw someone on YouTube, and it says, why I create music when no one listens. And I was like, oh my gosh, you can apply that to anything across the board. You could apply that to, I don't know why, here's why I do video when no one watches. Here's why I make art when no one buys or no one sees it, right? No one gives me the likes, right? Here's why, then this person was saying that, here's why I do music. I could say, here's why I do podcasting when no one's listening. Here's the thing I see, and I want you guys to really start to think about this, right? I do podcasting because I want to, because it's fun. I do video production because that's really fun, and that's my backbone. Like, that's what I do. I have to do production. I love every aspect of it. I'm not really concerned if anyone watches my stuff, because when I do it for me, and it's capturing a moment. And then you kind of I upload it to YouTube, and it's kind of like, hey, this is what I created. Like, you missed out if you weren't there, but you could still catch the vibe by watching a video. It's really cool. Or highlighting a business in a commercial, and they're so excited about that. Like, wow, this is cool. They've come a long way to get to this point, right? Or even on photography, right? Like, I take a photo. Like, I don't care if anyone sees this, because it was the moment, and I capture something, and I'm proud of that, and maybe I'll put it on canvas and hang it on my wall, right? Or give it to the client, right? But I share it on my website, and listen, you can't like it on my website. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's there because it's something that I look back on. You got to really do for you, right? Because in all these different areas, musicians are having this problem where they're putting their music out on, say, SoundCloud, and there's no views, no likes, whatever, they're not getting it, right? And they feel defeated. Video people on YouTube, on all these different other platforms, artists putting their stuff out there on Facebook and Instagram, photographers, and they're not getting the views and like. Why? Because the algorithm is not giving those views and likes. The algorithm is not favoring you. The algorithm is not doing anything, right? It's, if anything, it's just, it's controlling the agenda, right? And now, we got to change this, and we got to do that, and we got to add these hashtags. Now you got to write things underneath your photos, and you got to write things into your videos, because you got to speak to this algorithm so it deciphers the information and gets it in the beginning to the right person. So, I want to see dogs and cats being fun. Well, this person recorded a video with dogs and cats. We don't know that because the algorithm at the time couldn't see it. So we had to explain what it was, and then, I'm going to suggest this. Not anymore. Now you have to show up before you, right? Now you have to do things that are so in alignment that really your content is so tight, like really exhaust you. And now you're working for this algorithm. Who's working for that? I'm not working for the algorithm. And so that it's for you and it gets promoted. It's not happening, okay? Like, let the algorithm die out. Let it change a bazillion more times until those people that are trying to control those platforms, until something else comes out, until you find another way. You build the community. Maybe start a Discord. Go where the algorithm is not, right? Podcasting maybe is a good outlet because it hasn't really, it's big, it's growing, but it hasn't really been manipulated enough and you can still get exposure. YouTube, I feel YouTube is a wash, right? But it's still a solid platform to get exposure, right? Instagram, good luck. TikTok is very favorable, right? But it's about getting in the For You. You can really climb with TikTok, right? But, is TikTok in your wheelhouse? Is something you really want to do? I would say test it out, try it. But don't get discouraged when you don't get the views and likes. It's not about views and likes anymore. It's about building the community. Here's my belief. If I create something that you like, you're going to come back and, let's say the algorithm isn't showing anymore. Well, you're going to be like, man, something's missing. I watch ZT Films videos every week. Why am I not seeing them anymore? Listen, I come from the golden era of YouTube, right? Where you didn't have the algorithm. You had to go find the person you want to watch. If I found Shaytards, right? Like Shay Carl and his family, and I wanted to watch his vlogs, guess what? I subscribed, and every week I would check it. If it wasn't showing up, I'd go look for it. If you want to see my content, come look for it. If I want to see your content, I'm going to come look for it. I don't go on Instagram and do the search. I don't just let that tell me what I want to see. I hate when I scroll and it's like, it used to be like content, ad, content, ad. Now it's content, ad, for you, ad, content. And pretty soon it's going to be no content when the content is you. The content is your post that isn't in the For You, that is something that I've subscribed to you and I'm supposed to see. That's the content. Before, I would see everything I'm subscribed to, and I'd see it, and I'm going to like it, or I'm going to share it, or this is cool, I'm going to comment, right? Well, now the algorithm is not like that. It's going to show you ads, and it's going to show you things that it thinks that you should watch and you should like based on who knows what, right? It used to be like, if I liked a whole bunch of cat videos, it's going to show me more cat videos. That's not necessarily the case anymore. Things are changing, and what I want to compare it to is a lot like back in the day when, if you're old school like me, you would watch MTV, right? You would go to MTV, we'd watch it throughout the day, but we got to watch it and got entertained, but we didn't get to pick the playlist. We didn't get to decide what was up next, right? They picked that for us. They entertained us. They told us what we should watch. And then it got more saturated, and now the radio's the same way, where you hear the same lame song, but because they paid the most money, it'll be played 50 bazillion times until that dumb song that is so annoying becomes something you kind of like. And some people really like it, but it's just so embedded in your head that that's what it is. And then they hope that there's sales on that and you buy it, right? Or they make you associate to it. They show you what you should be watching. They pre-program you and they make that happen, okay? As creatives, that's also not where we're at. We don't want to be there. We want you to find our stuff organically. We want you to find your stuff emotionally. We want you to find our stuff because you care, not because some algorithm or some bot or someone promoted us to show you a bazillion of what we've done and just wash us out. The last thing we want as creatives is our work to be washed out. Like, I am not interested in going commercial. As I grow, become successful, I make sure I expand instead of stacking, right? I expand my reach. I expand all the different people I've worked with, so I'm everywhere at once. But stacking would be like, hey, the same thing, repetitive. There's a format, a framework of what I do. It's the same thing over and over, maybe slightly different. And we're just going to keep building a brand and getting followers and getting people to like. And we stack until we become this tower and everyone's holding us up. I don't want to be held up by my followers or this stacking process. I want to be fluid. I want to expand. So, I don't need to be held up. It's like I'm known everywhere. I'm known, this is my style. But maybe the whole world doesn't know me, but I'm out there amongst the community, right? I'm out there. People have heard of me, or they haven't heard of me, but someone's talked about it and convinced that person to check it out. And now it's an organic exposure. Does it make sense? I really hope that registered with you. I think out of this whole episode, this last part, that's what I cut. That's the video podcast, because that was the gold. But I'm not going to cut it. I want you to listen to this. Again, if you like my content, you'll listen to my whole podcast all the way through. You'll go back and listen and grab all these little pieces, because I'm not just talking, I'm sharing years of my experience and the things I've learned, and developed. You hear me say that. It's because I've went out there and I've done this. I've failed forward. I've practiced. This is kind of what I feel is pulled to me that you can really use to make your life better, or make your career better, or make your podcasting game better, or anything like that. And I want to expand that. And if you want to be a part of that, again, there's 3 outlets. 3. Only 3. Keep it super simple. In fact, there was 2 for the longest time, but I just added Zebulon Thomas Photography, right? So there's 3 outlets, right? ZT Films, ZebulonThomas.com. Got to put the www dot in there, right? I don't know what's going on there, but you got to add the www dot. I haven't fixed that yet. And then there's the podcastintherough.com, right? Got to go there. Then there's ZebulonThomas.com. That's my photography. So there's my 3 outlets. Which, and listen, if you're someone who really enjoys my work and you're inspired by it and does something for you, boom, you have all these outlets that you're checking out. You're going to look for the photography when it comes out. Oh, it's going to hit every so often when he does something cool. I'm going to check that out. Might leak on Instagram. ZT Films, that's in full effect, right? Like, I can't wait to be a part of his video. I've signed up, right? There's a roster. You can be part of my talent roster, especially this summer. We're doing some big things. If you want to be in one of my videos, go to ZebulonThomasFilms.com. Scroll at the bottom. You'll see an area where it says, be part of our video, join the talent roster. Just register. It's all free. And then you'll get a little invite in your inbox, your email, nothing spam, no craziness, no automation. Literally an email directly from me or my assistant saying, hey, there's a video coming out. This is the brand we're teaming up with. It's going to be a lot of fun. You might get some product. You might hang out, but what you are going to get is an experience, and you can take photos and have a blast with me, rock out, make history together, right? And then there's the podcast. You want to learn anything about podcasting or really see what's going on behind the scenes or listen to something I want to voice my opinion on to help give you a CEO level upgrade, a podcast upgrade, a videography upgrade, a photographer upgrade, this is where it is. Or highlight a guest, right? Podcast in the Rough. 3 outlets. Don't give people bazillion outlets. I feel like that's the same thing with social media. Everyone's on every platform. Every platform. Yes, I'm going to admit I am on every platform. Well, not every, but because I started, I had Facebook, Twitter, and then it was Instagram. So it was YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Then TikTok came out. Bam, got TikTok. But I'm not heavy on TikTok. That's my gaming stuff. That's something I dabble with. I don't really care about. I'm like, there's TikTok, right? I should if I want to make a lot of money. But again, I'm already doing well other places. I don't want to get in that lane just yet until it really speaks to me, right? But maybe simplify things for yourself. Instagram, maybe that's where you want to be. Me personally, I feel like Instagram is so broken right now. I don't know how you're going to get anywhere at Instagram. Doesn't mean you shouldn't start. It just means that don't expect a lot of feedback from Instagram. YouTube, I love YouTube. It's where my foundation is. I have to. It's great. It's the only one of its kind. I'm so surprised that nothing's came out bigger than YouTube, right? Yes, we have, other, I don't even want to say them, but we have another platform, but it's like YouTube just has everything we need, right? And it's amazing. So yes, there's a love-hate relationship with YouTube. I'm not happy with how things used to be. The golden era of YouTube is dead, right? It's gone. You can't monetize like you used to. There's so many restrictions, and it really just F's up all of creatives' hard work, if you will. I miss the days of just saying, put it up here. But listen, it's because I don't thoroughly go down that wormhole, that rabbit hole of what YouTube is and why they created these things. As a company grows, we all have to understand something. As they grow, things get more complicated for them. There's more content. How do you get it filtered? And that's a whole madness in itself. And they're trying to work through it. So I'm not going to be mad, right? They're just testing everything out. You got to think about that. How does everyone get through the door once, right? When there's only a line of, when there's 3 people, they can all kind of get in. One at a time, boom, boom, real quick. When there's 10 people, now we got to 2 at a time. And it's 20, 30, right? We got to crunch together. Now we have 100 people. How do we get them all in the same amount of time through the door? Now we're squishing, we're hurting people trampling people. So you got to have an algorithm, right? You got to have something. And that's just how it is. I don't understand it. I'm not even going to try to understand it. And I'm a strategist, right? I'm not going to try to figure that out. They're going to figure that out. And then I'm just going to figure out how to play the game better, right? Let someone else create the game, like the playing field, and then figure out how to play on the game, in the game and on the field better, right? Like, how do you get better at this? You were given this is the outlet. What can you do with it? If I handed you a camera right now, what would you do with it? If I handed you a pencil, what would you draw? If I handed you an instrument, what kind of music would you create? Right? Things to think about. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. This is my video podcast. Yeah, I did it. There we go. I just said, you know what? We're going to hit record and we're going to do this podcast. I'm not really worried about if it sounds good, if it looks good. I'm not going to over polish this. This is an episode that I'm actually proud of because this marks the first episode in a long time that I did video, and maybe I'll do more. I plan on doing more because I want to show you some more behind the scenes of my ZT Films videos, early stages of before I got where I'm at now, like before I figured it out, and like the early times of, having the junk cameras and like getting the brands and not knowing what I was doing, but we were creating magic and like didn't even know that was the formula that was going to breed success. I want to talk about what happened back in those days because it's so inspiring and exciting, and I want to take you with me on that. And maybe you'll walk away with something. Maybe it'll start a career for you. Maybe it'll improve your game. I don't know, but stay tuned because it's going to be awesome. So other than that, thank you so much for checking out this episode, whether you listened or watched, and give me some feedback. Comment below. Leave a rating and review under this podcast, especially on Apple. I want Apple Podcasts. I would love more reviews on that. But if you're a Spotifyer, I'd love to have the reviews on Spotify. That'd be amazing. Please give me that rating and review. It just helps me reach more people and lets me know that I'm doing the right thing with podcasting. Thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend. Take care.